Hi, I wanted to take some time to have a look at terms within HEMA that are sometimes confusing to people who've only just started. And the first one I wanted to look at is long edge, short edge, or false edge, true edge. Now, the problem is with this quite often to understand is that when you're holding a long sword or an arming sword, whichever, you have a sword which has got two edges of even length and two edges of even sharpness. They're both the same length, both the same sharpness, as simple as that. Now, obviously that can be a little confusing, and usually when we look at this, the general way of holding it in a normal knife grip like so is that the false edge is identified as being towards the junction of the thumb and the palm, and the long edge is the edge which is identified by being almost in line with the second knuckles. That's easy enough to understand, but we don't really have a reasoning for why. And I think if you understand why, or potentially why, it can aid your understanding and your ability to retain this information. One of the most common explanations I get for true edge and false edge and the difference between them is that of reach. That if I'm holding the sword like so, here, it will reach further than if I hold the sword like so. And as I hope you can see by that very, very basic demonstration, it's not actually that true. So I don't think it holds that much water as an argument. What I would like to suggest is that it's actually a helpful anachronism, something that's come out of the development of the sword from the knife or the mesa. Now, in this case, what we're looking at is we're looking at something that's more like this here, or something very, very similar to a bowie in some ways here as well. Something which has got a relatively thick back edge for integrity, for strength, and a nice long sharp cutting edge. Now, if you take this as being the case, you have at the end a blunt edge or a semi-sharp edge which is there to maintain the point integrity. So if you want to work with the point or if you want to thrust with the point, it's less likely to bend or snap. So in this case, to keep the point strong, we take less material away from the back edge. Okay, now you can still cut with it, but it's not a dedicated cutting edge. So in that case, you'll have a semi-edge, or a false edge because it's not a cutting edge, or a short edge because it doesn't come all the way down to the end of the blade. Okay, and simply put, that way of explaining things, if you look at that as being the standard way that you'll hold this, well, the edge I usually cut with is the long edge because it's usually long. The edge I don't so often cut with, but it's there if I want it to, is the false edge or the short edge. So false edge would be one where it's not fully sharp, it's not designed necessarily for cutting, but you can use it as such, or one which is very, very much designed for cutting, but then you'll be taking stock away from the end of the blade, so you may damage its strength within the So my personal opinion is that we've taken something which has a visual symbolism to it, that here we can see it has a short edge, and that we can see it has a long edge, or a false edge, or a true edge, so that we've got semantic points covered. We take that, visually we generally hold it like this, we can hold it like this, but as our general rule, this is our usual way of holding it. And we use that to be able to identify visually and mentally what we're carrying on over into longsword, so that you're superimposing an image of this onto this. And this makes it very, very easy for you to identify which edge you're cutting with. I hope this has been helpful. I'll speak to you soon.